The following segment is sponsored by Smith Injury Law and 300hurt.com.
You hate to imagine being in a car wreck, but it can happen to anyone, and the best thing we can do is know how to react. Richard Smith of Smith Injury Law is here this morning and every Wednesday. Thanks for being here.
Enjoy it. Always do.
We've been covering the mistakes to avoid if you're injured in a car wreck. And before we get to that, talk to us about your areas of practice at Smith Injury Law.
Well, we handle automobile accident cases, workers' compensation claims, Social Security disability claims, basically any type of personal injury case, give us a call.
Excellent. And this book you wrote, 10 Critical Mistakes to Avoid If You're Injured in a Car Wreck. What made you want to write it?
Well, I kept seeing the same mistakes made over and over again by my clients and by my friends. So I said, well, I'm going to write a book that is simple, that anybody can read. It's not a book filled with a bunch of footnotes and quotes from cases. It's basic information that everybody should know.
Yep, very readable. I know one mistake early on is failure to preserve evidence. There's failure to seek medical treatment in a timely manner. And one mistake we want to talk about today is negotiating with the insurance company too soon. What do we need to know?
Well, there's been some effort over the years by insurance companies. They send out people the day after the accident, and they get to you before you can get to an attorney or get to a doctor, and they basically come there with a checkbook and say, here, we'll give you a few $100s if you just sign this piece of paper, and we'll take care of your medical bills. But what they don't tell you is that they will evaluate your medical bills, and they won't necessarily pay all of them, and then you're stuck paying the medical bills, and you think your case is still open, but you've already settled your entire case before you know how bad your injuries are.
And you didn't even realize that you settled. That's the quick hit squads.
Right.
Another mistake is made when somebody gives a recorded statement to the adjuster without being represented by their attorney.
Yeah, that's almost common sense there. I mean, if somebody wants to record you to get your evidence, you need to be very careful because it's not always what you say, it's how you say it. And they ask you questions like, speed and distance and time. Well, everybody gets that wrong. So don't be trapped into giving a statement that can be used against you, without a lawyer being present.
I also like in your book, before you even get into the legal, you talk about the importance of maintaining your car properly, the importance of defensive driving. Those are the first steps.
Absolutely. Of course, never drive and text. Don't be on the phone even. Just try to keep your eyes on the road. That's the first thing, obviously. And that's a big problem we have is texting and driving. Also, keeping your tires properly inflated, making sure your tires are in good condition, because if the tread gets too worn on the tires, you can't stop. And I've had cases already where people have hydroplaned into each other because they hit the brakes, their tires are slick, there's some water on the road, boom, accident happens.
And I think we could have a whole segment just about insurance, but sometimes not purchasing enough insurance, that's a mistake people make before they even get out on the road.
Absolutely. Number one thing is underinsured coverage, because that's the only insurance that protects you if somebody hits you and they don't have enough insurance. And it's very inexpensive comparative to other types of insurance, but buy as much underinsured coverage as you can get, because the odds are the person that hits you only has the South Carolina minimum of $25,000 per person, $50,000 per occurrence.
Another big mistake, not understanding insurance coverages and stacking of insurance policies. What does that mean?
It's very complicated. It can be. Basically, what it means is if you have multiple vehicles on the same policy, you can stack your underinsured coverage. And it's very important to know that because if somebody hits you, you want to get all the coverage you can get if you have a serious enough injury. Now, it only matters if you have a bad injury, but you can certainly have an injury where you have $100,000 in medical bills and you only have $25,000 in coverage. So your underinsured coverage means a lot, and usually you're not going to get that information from an adjuster. They're not going to necessarily know how you can stack coverages or if you have other coverages available to you. So you need to have an actual attorney to represent you and be on your side.
And your book really makes it make sense. It's something worth looking through. Anybody can request this book from you. A lot of valuable information inside. Your number is on the screen, 300HURT, and you can get in touch with Richard Smith by calling 300HURT or visit 300hurt.com. Anything else we should keep in mind before we let you go today?
Just be careful and do defensive driving because There's always a chance that person's going to not stop at the red light, so just pay attention and you can avoid a lot of accidents, and be careful and focus your mind on the road. The best way is to not even be in an accident to begin with to prevent injuries.
Wonderful advice. Thank you so much. Richard Smith of Smith Injury Law. We look forward to having you back next week.
Thank you.
See you then. We'll send it back to you in the studio.